If you are suffering with any sort of mental health issue, OCD, anxiety, depression, what you've got to understand fundamentally is you're not broken, right? The biggest problem you have is your identity with these issues, which, to be honest, it doesn't really help with the way society may label you with these potential issues. But the biggest factor in these things, like I said, is your relationship with them, right? It's sort of the way you perceive that your whole identity and self-image are related to these problems, right? When realistically, these emotions do actually evoke a purpose, right? A lot of people think like, oh, why does why does depression exist, or why does anxiety exist? But what you've got to understand is that if, for example, your life was threatened, let's say, right? If you didn't feel anxious, okay, you're essentially at a disadvantage. It's an evolutionary response to certain scenarios. Yes, the overuse of anxiety is a problem, but recently the overuse of anything is an issue. If your legs were locked in running mode all your life, it's an issue, right? So if your legs were locked stiff all your life, it's an issue, right? So overuse of anything is a problem, okay? So just how, for example, you may feel depression, right? Depression doesn't mean that you now have contracted a disease and or the chemical imbalance of crap that the whole world would sort of sell you on, right? To sell you a pill. Depression means you need to do something about your life. You need to take action. You need to get outside, go to the gym, right? You might say, oh, well, I still feel depressed going to the gym, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. It means that what you're doing in your life, right, isn't enough to be happy, okay? So you need to find what brings you that happiness, right? You might be in an unhealthy relationship where the people around you are causing you potentially to suffer. And I don't want to say someone else is causing your depression. I'm saying that you have to be grown up enough to say, you know what, I'm not happy in this situation. I need to leave. I need to find something new. I need to build something new. Now, I completely understand that there are some scenarios where you're not going to be able to do certain things about certain issues, right? But most of us live in a first world country. The people like sort of watching this video, you have enough ability within your means to do certain things, right? And then let's say, all right, cool, you have certain things that you can't get over. Then you learn to make peace with those things. You learn to accept that certain things are the way they are. And there's a lot of peace in letting go of certain things. If you want people to be a certain way, if you want things around you to, things that you are out of your control, if you submit and you surrender to control of external things that are clearly out of your control, there's a lot of peace in that, right? Sometimes when, let's say, depression comes, it's not about you. I mean, I started the video saying it's about you changing yourself, but sometimes it's not about you changing the physical things around you. It might just be you changing your mentality. Maybe you have the mentality of a person who is depressed, right? And the reason you have that is because you can't let go, right? This is a really good example, right? The other thing that I would say is let go of your ego, right? I know so many people with these issues have such a big fucking ego. It's unbelievable, right? But my statistic, yeah, or my barometer on, and if you don't know what that is, it's like my scale, yeah, my way of judging how good, let's say, you are at life. Let's say if you have to rate how good you are at life from 0 to 10, right? If you're constantly suffering mentally, right, then you're on the lower end of knowing how to live your life. You're not in a position to be telling someone else how to live their life because you have no happiness in your life, right? If that makes sense. Put it another way. Your ability to feel at peace should be your measurement of how good you are at life, right? Is the best way to put it. So if you're constantly distressed, constantly sort of unhappy, okay, and I'm not saying happiness is the correct sort of measurement because it's not about being happy all day long. I would say peace is probably the right measurement to use. So if you are suffering with your own thoughts all day long, you can't find peace in your own presence, then you need to put your ego aside and change something. You're not going to progress in life with your current mindset and mentality and feelings. It's just not going to happen. And there's nothing actually wrong with that, right? Because what is life? Right? Life is about progression. Life is about experience. It's about doing things. It's about having new perceptions on things. The whole reason we travel, the whole reason we explore in this world is to learn, is to develop, is to experience new walks of life, new culture, right? And the whole point of life is to find something that you're happy with and you find peace with and you find fulfillment in, and do more of that. So if you are someone who is sort of suffering mentally on a day-to-day basis, then it's your job to tell yourself, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to change, right? Whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be both. It requires some sort of lifestyle change, right? Which is going to be at the fundamental core, a change in self-image.